Hey, beautiful people. Andrew the Realtor here with the August 2025 housing market update, specifically from my beautiful people at Midtown Toronto, one of my favorite areas. So I do a monthly Midtown Toronto market update. I also do a full-on GTA-wide market update. Have been doing it for years. And so if you want to look just to the left of me here, there's gonna be a link to the video there. You can click on that, and that gets you the whole GTA. But I do try to narrow it down to specifically Midtown. It's a particularly interesting area, and there's a bit of news, a little bit of breaking news, in fact. But let me, right before I get to that, breaking news of iPro Realty being shutting down. Actually, today, August 19th, that I'm filming this video. This is the day that that brokerage, over 2,000 realtors, shut down. I'll tell you why. And I mentioned shakes and high rises, something for the area. Obviously, very important stuff, especially about the shakes. Midtown Toronto is still holding its own. We're going to go through the numbers real quick. So you have the numbers for the area of Midtown. And of course, if you're looking to sell or buy in Midtown, I'm going to tell you what you really should be doing. And again, that's my opinion, but I'll give you the numbers so you actually know what's going on, and you can form your own opinion as well. As always, guys, I try to do these obviously it's free. It's on YouTube predominantly, a little bit of Instagram and such. The whole point is to provide you guys with information that you can actually use versus clickbait, exaggeration, and that kind of thing. Hence the lack of the exaggerated thumbnails that you'll find in a lot of other market updates, although there are none really for Midtown. So on the left there is a QR code to my little real estate experience. Quite a bit of information there. And of course, you can contact me, askandrew.realtor or midtowntoronto.realestate. That's a website that I'm working on currently, and you guys can contact me there as well. Got questions about real estate, especially in Midtown, ask Andrew, as it says there. So guys, the first thing, why am I wearing a hat? I don't really have a hat for a hat, but why am I doing so? This is big, and I did this on my other update as well. I'll be real quick because I never add things other than real estate into this because that's why you're watching this. So I'm part of Team Water, a guy named Mr. Beast. If you don't know him, your kids absolutely do. He is definitely a philanthropist. He does everything on video, so he sometimes gets flack for that. He really shouldn't. He's done a lot of really good stuff. So anyway, this is a group of YouTube, of Instagram, social media content creators. I'm a very small, tiny thing of that. And we're doing a big crowdfunding campaign, and it actually is doing really well. It's water related, and I'll tell you in a second why it is that I picked this one specifically, because I don't really do a lot of charities. I'll tell you why that is as well. So have a look at teamwater.org. I'll leave the link at the bottom of the first part in the description, at the bottom of the email. Go to teamwater.org, donate, listen, $5 and such. They do a really good job. It's specifically water to areas of the world where water is desperately needed. And one of the reasons that I picked these guys specifically, like why me, why bring this up, first of all, in the middle of a housing market update. This has nothing to do with housing per se, but listen, why this one specifically? Because I'm very, very picky and frankly very careful and skeptic of most charities. Other than the importance of water, there are two reasons specifically. One, this is not government related. You guys know I'm from the Soviet Union. I have definitely a bias against government. Governments tend to suck. But this has less government intervention. It's more private, individual, business people, creators, and those kinds of people pulling money together. Of course, there's corporate input as well in order to help people in other parts of the world. Sustainability is one of the biggest things, by the way, and this is more of a serious topic, in terms of sustainability for water specifically, is organizations, GMOs and that kind of thing. They'll build wells in an area, and then 2 or 3 years later, the well breaks down and the people are stuck. In fact, sometimes the people that are trying to help are actually worse off than they started. There's a very difficult read, but it's a good book. Robert Lupton's Toxic Charity. I highly recommend you have a look at that. There's something very interesting in that. But what's cool about this specific campaign is that there is sustainability built in, meaning that the wells for the water are not just brought into the area and that's it. No, expertise, education, as well as equipment is brought in there as well. And there's a follow-up process that over the years make sure that the well is working, the water is clean, and that kind of thing. And that's what's missing in a lot of charities. People just come, here's some nice things, and then they disappear. It's not the case here. It's one of the reasons, the second reason why I thought this is really good. So teamwater.org, go there, donate just a little bit of money. It's not a big deal in terms of how much you put in, because there's lots of people doing it. That's why we're actually I think we already hit the goal already. So, okay, Midtown Toronto, back to real estate, and I'm going to keep the hat on anyway. So, breaking news, this is actually important. Now, iPro Realty is a large brokerage, over 2,000 agents. There's not an office in Midtown specifically, but there are offices in East York, and I think there's one somewhere closer to York, the old areas there. And there's lots of other offices. And why I mention it is obviously you guys are in Midtown, but you might see realtors that are with iPro Realty. Maybe you've had a house listed with iPro Realty. There's not too many in the area, but nonetheless, why I wanted to mention, not to talk them down, but the shutdown follows an inspection by RICO, Real Estate Council of Ontario, that revealed that the brokerage had a significant shortfall in terms of they said 10 million. It's actually 8 million. I put that in there myself. And there are trust accounts, which should never be touched. That's a very big deal. It's a TRESA violation. That's an acronym for the rule that we're under at this point. And so it is a Mississauga-based brokerage, but they have 17 different branches and over 2,400 agents. Sweet heavens. And the branches are closing as of today, August 19th. This is important. So if you know anyone in here, definitely ask some questions. If you're dealing with somebody who's an iPro Realty, definitely talk to that realtor. Find out what's going on with them. And if you happen to be a realtor with iPro Realty, I certainly recommend my brokerage, Century 21 Leading Edge, but definitely look for something better. But FYI, that's a pretty big deal in terms of real estate specifically. So let's get really, really local to Midtown. So this is obviously the most important news by far. That is Shake Shack. Of course, everyone's been wanting this. 6 new locations are open in the Greater Toronto area, including one in Midtown. So they already opened up, I think it was in June. Yeah, June of last year. Yonge and Dundas is where the original Shake Shack is. Smash burgers and crinkle cut fries. You can't go wrong, frankly. But nonetheless, Midtown. So if you're a shake person like myself, I like shakes maybe more than I should. Yonge and Eglinton, 40 Eglinton Avenue East, coming this fall in 2025. So obviously, if you're watching this, you're going to be very close to that location. And the other thing is real estate related. A lot of builders are holding back from building right now. I don't know if a lot of you know that. The condo market is not very good. But nonetheless, it's Toronto, so things are moving. And this is one of the big construction projects going on right now, right in the Midtown area. This is 245 Eglinton Avenue East. You guys will know, if you live in the area, you've seen this particular commercial plaza right there, located at the southeast corner of Mount Pleasant, Eglinton. And just opposite a forthcoming station is soon to open, Eglinton Crosstown LRT. So there's a lot of development there. And that specific one, it's gonna be not a monster, but pretty darn big. You can see the kind of the pictures, right? All these the drawings of what will be 1,278 residential units, condo units, and some underneath some commercial, and only 127 spaces for parking, which is an oddity, and that's actually happening more and more because of the LRT coming in, because of the stuff that the Metrolinx and such is doing. More and more larger buildings, larger complexes, sometimes 2, 3, 4 buildings, are doing less and less parking spaces. Almost kind of discouraging people from having cars. That's a different subject we don't need to discuss in real estate. But they will have, according to this, 1,445 bicycle parking spaces. So I guess you get where you want to go on a bike. And I got my little notes here for myself specifically. And here's this, that you might remember this address. Those of you who are, well, I'm 45, so a little bit older, closer to my age. This is where a very famous murder happened in this area. So anyway, that's not the best, but nonetheless, construction. So nearby that is something I mentioned, I think a few months ago, is 299 Roehampton Avenue. Again, not too far from there, proposing 2-story towers, 59-story towers, replace 12-story rental building. And of course, you're going to replace the existing units and, of course, add 1,519 rental units there. So this is huge. It's a huge. And so a lot of units, a lot of construction. In fact, the Yonge and Eglinton down to the Yonge Sinclair, that whole area, if they actually come through with it, the different builders involved, you're going to have something like 20 to 30 new condo buildings coming up. So pretty dense stuff. And if you live in the area, that may not be the best thing, but a lot of you are on the side streets, so you're not going to be affected with it by that as much. Of course, the traffic's going to be pretty something serious. So anyway, a lot of stuff is happening in Midtown, a lot of construction. Now, let's get to sales, the stuff that you guys really watch a market update for. This is the area of sales in the past month, which is, of course, July. You have the stats there. So interestingly, why I mention this, why I bring this up, this map, is that it's fairly even distribution here. Of course, 35 near Yonge and Eglinton. A lot of those are condo apartments, of course. Hence the higher density there. But, kind of a fairly even distribution overall. And here are the actual numbers. So let's look at this. I always do this versus the GTA. And of course, like I mentioned before, I have my GTA market update that I can provide as well, that I do on a monthly basis. So the interesting thing here is everyone was talking about, in terms of real estate, that the GTA, Toronto Real Estate Board, mentioning, went up almost 11%, over 10% increase in sales versus July of last year. I mentioned in my other update that it's a fair comparison, but remember, July of last year was not that busy anyway. So, it's apples to apples, but the apple wasn't really great. Nonetheless, in terms of sales and in terms of average price on all properties, very close, Midtown to the GTA. Freehold properties in Midtown took a bit of a hit, but again, it's a month's worth of information. Please take that with a grain of salt. So it's not that your freehold property is down 13% versus last year. No, it's different properties sell different months. We're talking to a small area here. 109 properties sold. So it's not a huge sample, so to speak. But the nice green circle right here is what I like. And why I mention it in green specifically is because it's good. Versus a lot of active listings, really high inventory, lots of new listings coming onto the market. For the GTA wide, 30,000. We're still record high inventory in the GTA. Midtown, interestingly, only up about 9%. This is up 26%. This is up 9%. There's a clear difference here. The theme I'm going to develop kind of this month specifically is Midtown is a little more normal, a little more subdued in terms of what the market is doing, which is actually good and healthy for a market. So again, this is new listings are almost the same, 299 versus 297, basically no difference. Active listings up 9%, very normal, nothing too crazy, considering what's been happening in the GTA. And average days on market up 14%, from 28 days on market to 32. That's not a huge difference. So again, it's maintaining, which is really good considering all the weird stuff that's happening otherwise. Again, high inventory in the GTA. I want to show something even more more proof, so to speak, as to what I'm talking about in terms of a bit of normalcy. So this is sales volume. Sales volume in the area that I consider Midtown Toronto. It's not quite what Google says, and not quite what some other people say. But again, it's the same areas I've been using month after month. So if you're watching these updates, and I appreciate you doing so, what you're going to find is that it's the same place. It's even comparison, apples to apples, so to speak. And here is what's been happening in terms of sales volume. So I made the red line from July last month all the way down to, what was it, 2010. So 15 years worth of data on a monthly basis. And here is July of 2021. And I mentioned that's the July that everybody seems to be mentioning. So they're saying this last July was the busiest in 4 years. And of course, 4 years back, it's 2021, which was significantly higher, but that was a crazy year. So here's the point. You notice it's pretty even. I mean, it goes up sometimes in the heavy spring, goes down sometimes in December, November, that kind of thing. But generally speaking, not bad. Not bad at all. So sales are somewhat steady numbers for Midtown specifically. Now let's look at price. Look at price. So this is average sales price, all properties, all different properties. Of course, down 2010, significantly lower and went up. But since about 2018, 2019, give or take, it's been pretty steady. Obviously, some peaks in 22. That was the record, still the record for the GTA and certainly Midtown. The first quarter of 2022 is right here, and that's obviously the highest price. But still, look at this. This is 23. This is down into 24. So it's not like we're having a very difficult time. Again, Midtown, really a bulletproof kind of area in terms of real estate. And again, there's a normalcy here. And the same goes for freehold specifically, by the way. You saw the low numbers, the minus 13%. In reality, freehold prices in Midtown, same kind of thing. They went up about to 2018, 2019, give or take, and kind of began to level off a little bit. Again, that's mostly because of what's been happening in the GTA as a whole. Obviously, Midtown gets affected, but nothing of this drop, no collapse. I mean, have you noticed there's none of that going on? One more thing that I really wanted to show you. I thought this was really, really interesting. You guys probably have not seen this. I think it's Daniel Falk who did this. Thank you to him. So, 5-year house price growth, okay? Just so, because people are always complaining about housing affordability, especially in GTA. I don't blame them. Things are expensive, no doubt about it, still are. But in general, what's been happening over the last 5 years, this is how much of not only was a bit of a slump in terms of the GTA price increases, but how much less those price increases are versus other areas. Look at this. Greater Vancouver, 24% over these 5 years. Toronto, 15%. I even circled it here, 15%. Versus the ultra luxurious, amazing areas of New Brunswick at 81%, Nova Scotia at 63%. Not exactly known for their very high real estate. What does that tell you? As much as people say everything's out of crazy and the price increases are crazy in the GTA, past 5 years, these other places, Prince Edward Island, are significantly higher in terms of appreciation, in terms of house price increases versus the Greater Toronto area. So maybe we're not as crazy as we think, okay? Or maybe we just, in light of other things, sometimes the contrast gives a little bit of a better perspective in terms of what's happening in the GTA specifically. So let's move along and wrap up things. The two things you should be doing. Again, this is my opinion, but you've seen the numbers, you've seen everything else. And again, I'm a realtor on the ground, knowing other realtors also on the ground in different parts of the GTA, but also Midtown. Inventory overall in the GTA is over 30,000. Midtown is about in the 500s. Midtown much more subdued and normal versus the GTA. So if you're looking to buy, if you're a buyer or thinking of buying, listen, please pay attention to this. Midtown is not as crazy as the GTA. So if you're looking to buy Midtown, amazing neighborhoods in Midtown, as those of you who live there know very well, there's selection, but it's not as crazy of a selection as the GTA wide. So buyers, take note. Maybe you act a little faster, maybe a little more quick to discern as to what it is that you want. Sellers are motivated and flexible. That's the case in every area right now. But 99% are not desperate. And so if you're a buyer and you're looking to get a great bargain, don't let that derail the plans of getting something very good at a good price. This bargain hunting situation that he's still here to this day, and I've been for over a decade in the business. I heard it back when I started. Listen, this bargain hunting, very difficult process, especially if you're just a normal person looking to buy a nice house for your family. Don't go bargain hunting. Look for a good, fair price. Look at the house that you want. Those are out there, and there's flexible, motivated sellers out there right now. But you have to be realistic and fair. These sales numbers should continue. Everything will not be on the market for a very long time. So again, especially in Midtown, buyers don't just think, oh, this is just like the rest of the GTA. Everything's sitting for months and months on end. I can have my pick of the litter. I'll just wait and see what happens. Don't do that. Don't get distracted. Don't overthink. Plan, figure out what you want, and then nab it when you see it. Take advantage of the market that it is right now. I've been telling buyers that for a long time. I don't want to harp too much on it because this isn't the kind of month for that. But again, if you're planned, you know what you want, you see it on the market, you should go for it, especially because things are a little softer. The sellers are a little more flexible. If you're looking in Midtown, by the way, ask Andrew.Realtor or just my contact information is at the bottom underneath that teamwater.org link. Contact me. I have access to off-market properties. Not that I'm special, just I actually have amicable relationships with a lot of other realtors. I see and know sellers in the area who might be looking to sell, but not quite yet, or coming soon, that kind of thing. I have access to that. I know about those. Contact me and I'll be able to help you with that. So sellers, by no means be discouraged. Sales are happening, but you have to be patient. So you saw the days on market, what it is. It's not 7 days. It's not a week. So if you're on the market for a week, 2, maybe 3, don't start thinking, oh my gosh, I need to drop 10% in price. Listen, as I'll tell you in just a bit, price might not be the issue, but first and foremost, don't panic. Be prepared for a little more of a long haul in terms of being on the market. Be realistic. Don't be a doormat. Hopefully you guys have a good listing agent if you're on the market. If not, give me a shout. I'll be happy to help with you because I refuse to allow my clients to be doormats for people bringing in low offers and doing nothing with them. I encourage offers, all of them. However, you are not going to be giving your house away, certainly if I'm working with you. Have your realtor keep an eye on what's happening in the market and what is actually selling and is there a pattern. This is really important. You should be getting weekly updates, if not more often, depending on what you want with your specific realtor. You should be updated. You should know what is actually selling and what those houses look like. Is everything in your specific neighborhood, maybe on your street, if it's everything that is selling is fully decked out, completely renovated, or is it a little more normal? You should know these things because then you can compare those things to your own house. And your realtor should be doing the background work for you. Ideally, price properly from the start. And that's always a thing anywhere in the GTA, anywhere. Pricing correctly from the start is a really big deal. Yes, you can adjust things later on, but it makes things more difficult, especially in a market like this where things are not moving as fast as maybe we would like. And of course, price is not everything. And honestly, this has been the case not just in Midtown, but in other areas as well. Just because you drop your price doesn't mean you're going to sell it. In fact, the price might not be the issue. It might be an overall demand issue, in which case, have patience. Wait for the buyer to come. Get a proper listing agent, guys. This isn't the time to go discount. Poor quality photos, no follow-up, no research, minimum marketing, nobody paying for ads, just a little Facebook post once a week. That's not going to cut it, guys. It's just not going to cut it. And as always, guys, Andrew the Realtor, I really appreciate your time. I never try to go too long with these, but hey, it's a lot of information. And again, I'm a pro at selling real estate, not at producing YouTube videos necessarily. I have people who do that for the listings. So QR code, my little experience, ask Andrew.Realtor. Midtown Toronto.real estate will take you there as well, and eventually we're gonna have a little more Midtown information there as well. So guys, if you have questions about real estate, ask Andrew. Thanks for your time. I'll see you guys in September.